This is episode 2 of 3 on how skilled behavioral change is done. In the last episode, we established the diagnosis. Your brain runs on 2 systems. System 1 is fast, automatic, and runs most of your life without your awareness. System 2 is slow, deliberate, and has a working memory of about 4 chunks. What people call self-sabotage is not a demon saboteur acting with malice to ruin your plans. It is System 1 executing a conditioned avoidance protocol. The problem is mechanical, which means it can be trained. Today, we explore the training itself. Hey there, it's me, Core, and you're listening to Exercising Consistency, from fitness to flourishing. In cognitive psychology, the process of moving a skill from conscious effort to automatic execution is called proceduralization. This is not a metaphor. Your brain physically relocates the cognitive load from your prefrontal cortex to your basal ganglia and cerebellum. A skill is not learned until the geography of the brain has changed. That relocation happens in 3 stages. First, the cognitive stage is pure System 2. Every movement requires massive conscious effort. You make frequent mistakes. You are slow. Your brain burns glucose at an elevated rate. This stage is uncomfortable, and most people quit here because they mistake the discomfort for evidence that something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. This is what learning feels like when the skill is not yet automated. Second, the associative stage is the bridge. Your brain begins recognizing patterns. You no longer need to think about the basics, but you still need conscious control for complex combinations. Errors drop, speed increases. System 2 and System 1 begin operating in cooperation rather than in sequence. And third, the autonomous stage is pure System 1. The skill runs itself. You can perform it while talking, under stress, or with your attention elsewhere. The decision cost has dropped to 0. You do not decide to execute the skill. The skill executes because that is what the architecture now produces when triggered by the correct circumstances. The entire purpose of training is to move a behavior through these 3 stages as efficiently as possible. Most people never reach the 3rd stage because their method violates the rules that make the transition possible. To successfully program System 1, your System 2 training method must follow 3 strict constraints. 1. The single cue rule. System 2 focuses on 1 cue at a time, never a whole sequence. A poor method says, keep your feet shoulder width apart, drop your hips, watch the ball, follow through with your wrist, and breathe out. That is 5 chunks. The working memory can hold 4. The system jams. The correct method says, drop hips. Repeat until you cannot get it wrong. Then, watch ball. 1 cue, 1 focus. 2. The constraint-led approach. Instead of using System 2 to constantly correct your form, use System 2 to change the environment so correct form is forced. If you want to keep your elbows tucked while boxing, for example, do not tell yourself, keep elbows in. Instead, put a towel under your armpits. If the towel drops, you did it wrong. System 2 now only has to monitor 1 binary, towel or no towel. The constraint does the coaching. 3. Progressive overlearning. You are not practicing until you get it right. You are practicing until you cannot get it wrong. This requires continuing the repetition long after the skill feels mastered. The neurological reason is straightforward. What feels like overkill to System 2 is the minimum input System 1 needs to physically rewire. Stop early and the pathway never solidifies. Your working memory cannot hold the protocol and execute it at the same time. This is not a character flaw. It's a hardware limitation. A written protocol acts as an external hard drive for your prefrontal cortex. It keeps the rules stable, so your conscious energy can be spent entirely on execution. The format matters. Abstract goals, like be more disciplined, and emotional benchmarks, like do it until you feel inspired, are System 2 confusion. System 1 needs environmental triggers. For example, when I sit at my desk at 8 a.m., micro movements, for example, open exactly one document, and binary metrics. For example, success means the timer hit 0. Then you lock it. The 84-day stability rule says, write the protocol once, commit to changing 0 variables for 84 days, and execute blindly. That is, it's non-negotiable. Neurobiological changes like myelination requires consistency. If the trainer is inconsistent, the student receives conflicting data and fails to automate anything. You can accelerate this process. Deconstruct skills into ultra-isolated micro-components. Prioritize perfect form over speed. System 1 will automate sloppiness just as efficiently as excellence. Attach emotional stakes. The amygdala marks high-focus experiences for accelerated encoding. And protect your sleep. System 1 does not solidify learning while you practice. It solidifies while you sleep. 7 to 8 hours is not a luxury. It is a biological requirement for training. None of this depends on motivation. It depends on structure. The next episode closes the series. The loop that runs your life. Conscious choice becomes repetitive training, becomes subconscious automation, becomes better instincts. And the skill that sits above all of it, knowing when to hand the wheel from System 2 to System 1 and back again. To exercise consistency and become the person who trains System 1 skillfully, whatever the circumstances, join the ACT Score Challenge. That's it for today. Catch you next time.